All right.
Hi, welcome to Healing Arts Talks. Today I have a lovely guest, Deanna McCoy, who is a tarot reader and
Yes.
astrologer. Hello, hello, welcome. Thank you so much
Hi.
for coming on the show.
Of course. This is great. Hi, everybody. So like she was saying, my name is Deanna. I am a Black tarot reader. I am located in North Carolina, but I definitely do a lot of readings or post a lot of content on my Instagram. So all of the information will be provided below after the video.
Yes,
And
we'll
you're definitely welcome to DM or just contact me personally overall. So yeah,
for
thank you
sure. Yeah,
for
I'll make sure to put that all in the description box below. And she is a really gifted reader and she has
thank
so
you.
many different gifts. So, yes, please check her out.
Thank you.
Yes. So the first question I want to ask is what is your story? How did you get started in working with tarot and astrology?
So since I was younger, like I always gravitated towards just having a higher power, but I didn't necessarily know about the different religions, how people associated certain things like symbols and people, gods and goddesses and all of that. So I was always interested in philosophy and kind of figuring out how people develop spiritual gifts and abilities. I always felt that I could figure out things and know it so quickly or know it so well. And then I learned that was my intuition. So back in 2019, I had a very hard breakup. And in that process, I was receiving visions that I had never received in my life through dreams. And those dreams started to come true. So I was like, for some reason, once I did my research, I realized it was a spiritual awakening of just like um, getting wiser. My intuition was getting stronger. My energy was getting stronger. My vibrations was getting higher. So it was kind of like I was starting to receive my calling. And once I did that, I looked at a lot of YouTube videos. I watched, what is tarot? What are other forms of divination? What does divination look like? I also learned about being clairaudient, claircognizant, all of that. So that's just been good with just learning what I can do, what I can't do. Um, I like mediumship. It's not a thing of mine though. I wish I had that gift. I definitely support and like research others who do that. Um, this journey overall though just has been like about 2 or 3 years overall like in the making. So it's been a good journey.
Yes, thank you for sharing. I love that, it
Of
starts
course.
out with that curiosity and then it
Yes.
kind of like things kind of just becomes almost like a domino effect, how things kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like once I once I researched like what a spiritual awakening was, it would say like, the different forms, and then they'll say like ancestors, and then I used to always hear like ask your guides. I'm like, who's my guides? What are those? Like when I started receiving little readings from time to time, and then I started like purchasing books like tarot books, spirituality books, spell books, crystal books. So then I started like traveling to different shops that had these things to kind of like get more clarity on what it is, how to use it, and all of that. So I've been getting very much more comfortable with using everything, but I mostly use tarot, runes, and just channeled messages or divination, whatever you like to call it, just to practice my spirituality.
Yes, it's beautiful. And
Yep.
speaking of spirituality, like how has your spirituality and that development of your relationship with spirituality, how has that informed your practice as a tarot reader, as a astrologer?
So being clairvoyant, which means you can hear like voices and things like that, is when I started to realize that everyone has like subconscious feelings, but when you are spiritually inclined and like very elevated, it's like it'll almost sound like everything that you're thinking is right. And so, how it always feels for me is whenever I approach a situation, it's like my body will start to tell me things. I'll start to feel like something feels right or not. And I started to trust that a lot more. And that's when everything became better with just trusting my skill. Um, there were times where I would be around people and I would hear certain things like don't do this or this is that, or it'll be like single words blurted out repetitively, and I would just take it as like these are your signs. So I learned that over time spirituality is definitely a journey within itself. I feel like you're gonna always keep learning no matter what. 1 second.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
continuous journey of learning new things and learning to trust. And it sounds like that's what's happening too. It's like you're like, okay, this is real. I believe this message. Yes, okay, yes.
Yep.
How to trust what's coming through. So with that being said, like if there's somebody who's interested in like exploring tarot or astrology, what advice would you give to them if they're at the
Oh,
beginning of their journey?
I'm so glad you asked this question because on my tarot page, I literally released a video last week about it. A whole 30-minute video. It's on my YouTube actually too. It's a 30-minute video describing what my whole journey was like and then different practices. So I always tell people, first, start to learn how to differentiate different things. So whether it be different terms. So when you hear ancestors, understand some people may not always mean ancestors, or if they don't mean that, then they would use guides, which are, like we said before, like soul families, people that we just have met through our lives and things like that. Um, Setting an altar, praying, journaling, writing things down. Affirmations are real, manifestations are real. It's all about consistency, I would say, and trust, because a lot of people in any other religion, we don't have these bodies of people that says, like, when you call to that God or that goddess or whoever that you worship, you can't call them and then they just appear and like, okay, now what would you like? So it's like we have to trust that whatever we're doing, that on the receiving end, they're hearing us, they know that we're there, they're giving us that protection, that guidance, those, little pieces of wisdom that we need. So I feel like there's different forms, but definitely writing, praying, and setting up an altar is the best way to connect with them a lot better. Also using all of the four elements when you are trying to connect with them. So using fire for like, or using candles for fire, using like incense for the smoke and stuff like that for air, earth, having herbs around, having crystals around and things like that to feel connected, water, having a bowl of water there, drinking a bowl of water, different things like that. I like to use sound. So a singing bowl is really good. So it's just different ways that you can practice for sure. And they're all fun.
Yes, I love that. I love that you mentioned that because it's like great to have that. I feel like it's a great starter kit too. And it's like
Yeah.
sometimes like you get that information from other people or you research it or learn it, but it's nice to hear from you, someone who's practicing how to go about that because there can be kind of like this level of fear or hesitance when you haven't been taught,
Yeah.
institutions and religion and how that kind of harbors this kind of barrier in a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's also what I wanted to talk about is like this stigma, especially like in Black communities when it comes
Hmm.
to, venturing outside of Christianity in terms of your beliefs, in terms of doing tarot, because as you know, as a tarot reader, there might be some people who are like, oh no, I don't, I don't deal with that, or I'm not
Hmm.
gonna mess with that. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like anything that you've had to deal with in regards to that stigma or feeling like
Um, Honestly, I would say that a lot of people will kind of like doubt us, not only as a tarot reader, but just a Black tarot reader, because it's like a lot of the time, they'll think that you weren't raised, like you were or you weren't raised a certain way. So that's why you're learning what you know. Or that, I just feel like overall, everyone is entitled to a religion, but I feel like research is required with religions as well. I feel like a lot of people have obtain a certain status in their religion because of their family, because of their, just any loved one that they had that became their influence. Like you don't hear a 5-year-old saying that they love Jesus unless their mother or their grandmother, is telling them that. So I feel like for a lot of people, it's been so many systematic things that goes on a lot with education and love, career, money. It's the same thing for religion. It's the same thing for spirituality. So I feel like with Christians, especially in the Black community, our history was stripped from so many practices that we've had. Um, we had our own, books and Bibles to read. It just wasn't one Bible. There were multiple Bibles or multiple written creations that we've had for us to remember, and all of that was stripped away. So I feel like the best that I can do is continue to provide that knowledge and assure people that it's not supposed to be this like, is it real or is it fake? It's just about like overall faith and worship,
Yeah.
however you like to do that.
Yeah.
So I just feel like as long as everyone gets to learn more, as long as we're doing things like this, like connecting with each other, collaborating and sharing this type of information, I think it'll just go really far to show people like it's common for
Yeah.
people to do for people to do what we do. It's just that we're all spread out everywhere because we don't all meet each other. You know, like everyone usually goes through this journey alone. And even if they have those groups of people, those people are still alone. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was thinking about this, and it was one of the main reasons I started this show was to connect healing art practitioners of different fields together, especially in Black and Brown communities, because it does feel isolated and lonely, especially if you start out on the internet and you're trying
Hmm.
to figure out what space you're in, and it feels like there are practitioners over here in like the hoodoo space or the Ifa space, or different kinds of religions and practices, or even the tarot space, and it feels like, oh, how do I, like, a not cliquish but kind of, because it's like obviously people have formed a relationship, but it's weird because it's like, how do I connect with people?
I would say like because you will like when it comes to any type of practice, you will always be a beginner.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to always start off with this crazy expertise or this all-knowing kind of like feeling about yourself or the business or whatever it is that you're trying to learn. So I feel like when it comes to spirituality, yes, it may feel clicky because it's like, okay, we built a community.
Right.
You know, every religion builds a community because when you have that level of faith, you want other people to follow with you, or you have other followers that are just under that same type of mentality. However, with spirituality in general that doesn't have a specific title or specific worship of any kind is more lenient, it's more open. So
Yeah.
that's why we try to like, I guess for me, or when I'm saying we, I mean as tarot readers or people who are just spiritually connected. Um, I just feel like as long as we show that it's not this way, it doesn't always seem this way, then people will start to differentiate, like you said before, like some certain stigmas and things like that. It shouldn't feel clicky. But like I said before, I feel like there's just definitely I feel like that forms because you have beginners and you have people who's been doing it for a long time. So, a person who's been studying tarot for like 2 days compared to someone for 20 years, they're obviously not going to compare the same.
Yeah.
But the level of education can still be learned between those two people. So,
That's so true. And I'm glad you brought that up too, like the difference between, like, religious communities or different
mhm.
communities, because there are, rules, protocols, certain rituals that need to be done, and that requires community, especially in like diaspora religion. So it is going to look a little different. And there is
Yeah.
a lot more precaution, which makes sense. But in the tarot reader space, it can feel, since it's like more general, it feels a little bit more isolating because you're like, but I do think, like you were saying, there is something to be learned from different practitioners, because we're all going to interpret readings different ways. And we're all going to study it maybe in different ways, or, explore the different levels of it in different ways that could be helpful to one another.
Right. I definitely agree. That was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
This is so like affirming and uplifting, just to
Definitely. I'm definitely still gonna be talking. I'm just gonna have the camera off because I'm gonna be moving and talking, but
okay.
I'm still gonna be here. I promise. And I wish I
Okay.
could show my lovely face to everybody all the whole time. But
Yeah.
I'm on a time crunch with different plans today, so I'm just gonna only stop the video.
Okay.
That's all. But I'm still here.
Okay.
But you can definitely go to the next question and everything.
Awesome. And we're almost at time, so I'm going to be mindful of your time and wrap this up soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um,
of course. Thank you.
let me see. The next, I guess, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but just thinking about the importance of advocacy for readers, especially Black readers, readers of color. Um, Thinking about how ways to build collective care and trust them amongst readers. Have you thought about that as you're like developing your practice?
As far as the stress amongst readers,
Or
I feel like there's definitely a pressure around us trying to not only like make content, but to feel like, I guess for me, like I'm just gonna speak for myself. Finding an audience or having an audience is kind of different when it comes to spirituality, because say for example, like when you think about church, you know, you can look up multiple churches, but if you were to say, you know, finding a tarot reader, it's like you're only going to find some that are, you know, 15 miles away, 20 miles away, and then, you know, they may not have as much experience as you wanted and things like that, or their your expectation isn't the same because it's a new experience for you. So I feel like there's not enough areas where we can actually express ourselves and receive like more recognition. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's just pressure of trying to take over, like not trying to take over, but trying to take action and advantage of the communities that we can find. So like I said before, like joining groups like this and having those type of questions. Also, like, you know, when it comes to tarot cards in general, you know, you have some people who have been doing it for a while that says like, you know, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. So it's like kind of that pressure of feeling like you're doing something wrong.
I'm sorry, Deanna, you're breaking up a bit.
Like this is what I do. There's plenty of other people that does this as well. So I feel like as long as we really promote ourselves, we can go a long way if we continue to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think promoting ourselves together more collectively, because it can be kind of hard in like the YouTube space or even the Instagram space to kind of build that audience and visibility.
Right.
And it's, you know, even with, you know, especially the ones who are working with integrity. Ooh.
Oh my goodness, yes. Like, okay, for example, when I first started my page, I would this is what I tell you. I kid you not, I have the same amount of followers that I had since the very beginning of this journey, because I never knew how to gain more um audiences. Like it was kind of like, who do I follow? How do I follow? You know, I don't want anyone to feel like, you know, because I'm following them that I assume that they would like this or that they should, you know, follow this. It's really kind of hard. It's like I have to just keep putting things on the explore page and kind of like pray that someone likes what they're seeing and things like that. Or it's like I have my community of people who I've been posting this content for, and they're like, oh wow, like, you know, you've gotten better over time, you're posting more, the videos are longer, you know, you're giving different topics. So I would say for me, like definitely with the integrity, like I can see like someone with 15,000 followers, like dang, like how did they get there, it's like I've been doing this for the same amount of time, or I don't know, like I just always was like, what am I posting wrong, like what am I not doing? And so I had to learn like, okay, it's okay to really promote yourself even more than you thought, like by making videos, by doing it on multiple platforms that are more beneficial. If you feel like Facebook's better, then use Facebook. You know, if you feel like doing something in person is better, then that's cool. You know, make your TikToks about it. That's cool. So I feel like I just had to learn how to like take my projects and make them a lot better, so it wouldn't feel like as if, I don't know, as if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, when really it's just my gift and I just have to like appreciate that regardless.
I totally hear everything you're saying. It resonates so well because it's like when you're doing it for a while and you're consistent and you feel like it's not like, you know, the audience is not getting bigger. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Or what, you know, what's going on here? I think one thing that's helped me shift and I'm still learning is quality
Yeah.
over quantity. And just like the quality of the audience is great. Like in the small community, like my community here on YouTube or on Instagram, it's small, but it's like a good quality of people. And I try to stick with that and think about, you know, sharing gifts in that way and helping empower the people who are there, and
Yeah.
try to balance that out. You know, and I get it, it's still frustrating at times, but it helps to think quality over quantity is like my new mantra.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said this. I said that this year I will give myself a goal of trying to get like 500. I would be happy to have 500 followers just on a tarot page, because honestly, like looking at 200 this whole time, it's like, okay, we can do better than this. So it's like, I'm going to just, like I said before, reach out to my communities of people and just like keep gaining more friends or more acquaintances with people, so that I can actually like make a better legacy on this, because I feel like it's already a lot for me to be one of the first of like I'm the first in my family to really be in the spiritual world where I'm not following Christianity or I'm not following, you know, Catholicism or anything like that. So it's like for me, it means a lot for me to just do it in general. And that when other people see my work and they like it, it's like, wow, okay, I can keep doing this. So it's really just all about like tests and faith overall.
It takes a lot of courage too to continue
Yeah.
to show
Oh
up.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to wrap this up for the sake of time. So I wanted you to share with folks where they can find you, what you're offering, and then I could put that all in the link in the description below.
Okay, so two pages. I mean, I would promote more than anything because like that's when I would say or talk most about astrology. But my tarot page is FAIYZ.TAROT. That is Fayez.tarot. And then my original page that I created like a few years ago that just has like I'll post like small things on there, but it's 12.yourstruly.04.
Okay. Okay. I'll definitely put all that info in there. And did you want to share your YouTube channel as well?
Yes. It is who I am.
Okay.
That's all.
I'll be sure to put that down there so folks can get in touch with you. Deanna, thank you so much for your time and your energy and your gifts. And I look
Of
forward
course.
to continue to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Fola. I really appreciate this. And I just want to thank everybody else for watching the video. It is very important to just do this in general. This was my first time doing this and I really enjoyed it. And I'm just excited to keep doing this with you over the year. So I just want to thank everybody and Fola once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And we will talk to you soon.